I was going back and forth whether and how I was going to make this video and what I was going to say. Today, it's been 28 days since I found out I was pregnant. There wasn't a single moment that wasn't a bad day. The hardest part was really the not knowing, the complete zero control. But this channel has always been about authenticity and honesty and showing the patient side of being a doctor, the human side of medicine. And you can look back at my previous couple videos to see all the ups and downs I've been through. And this is going to be hard for people to hear. So I'm going to be a trigger warning. I last made a video stating that I went to the doctor and we found out we had a threatened miscarriage. And so that's where I was, what, 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Things have gone so quickly, but also so slowly. After I found out that it was a threatened miscarriage, I kept on spotting to try to figure out what would happen. And so officially, we found out this week that I did miscarry. At week 6, there wasn't a single moment that wasn't a bad day. It was days and weeks of waiting, bleeding a little, stopping, nauseous, sore, a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic. And this is why I'm here. This is just natural humanity, science, human bodies. I'm a doctor. I am a psychiatry resident, medicine doctor. I know medicine, and still my trauma response and way I deal with stress is learn as much as possible. I hope through this video I can provide a better understanding for others, because 1 in 3 people miscarry in the first trimester. 33%, and even higher when it's the first pregnancy. Through this journey, I found out that I wasn't alone, and that's how I made it through. People keep asking me, like, how am I doing? Even though everyone does grieve in their unique and different ways, it was important for me to know that it wasn't anything I did. And so many people told me that over and over. My doctors, my friends who are also doctors reminded me, and I'm here to help you, whether you've had a miscarriage yourself, a close friend has had a miscarriage, or if you are someone that wants to help someone else get through it. I hope this video can help you to tell you what it's like going through it and how you can help someone, because I know that's also really hard. A lot of people don't even know they're pregnant by 6 weeks. I knew super early because I had planned, not planned. But a lot of people don't even recognize they're pregnant when they miscarry this early. Only 10% of miscarriages recognize they're pregnant. But like I mentioned in the other video, the week 6 to 7 was really the genetic test, really checking if things, and it's not our genetics or your genetics, it's actually just the embryo's genetics. Sometimes it's not complete, sometimes it's not to the level necessary to continue on to be a healthy pregnancy, and so itself realizes it's time to go. And so for me, that was helpful to know that, and reading in books and talking to doctors and other people, and remembering that no matter what you physically do or don't do, That's not going to change whether it's going to be a miscarriage this early in the first trimester or in the first trimester in general. The hardest part wasn't the loss itself. It was really the not knowing. And I think that was the biggest trouble for me was the complete zero control of knowing that nothing I did could make it not miscarry, especially after I learned that it was a threatened miscarry or at risk of miscarrying. And that just made me very exhausted mentally, physically. Am I miscarrying? Did I miscarry? I'm so sorry to the people that I messaged. I miscarried. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. Like, they were whiplashing with me, and I was angry at my body that I didn't just have one answer or another. The waiting was really unbearable, and it got to the point that I could not wait till an ultrasound. Friday, today, so earlier this week, I ended up just giving in me like I need to go and get an ultrasound to figure out if I miscarried or not. So I waited till my husband he was in the neuro ICU shift, which I felt horrible because he had a 28-hour neuro ICU shift as a resident doctor. He came home exhausted. He slept a couple hours and then we got to go into the ultrasound. And this is going to be hard for people to hear. So I'm going to be a trigger warning. But there was no heartbeat. And this is hard for me to say, but I felt relief. And that surprised me. I felt relief that knowledge was over, that there was no more uncertainty. That constant mental spiral and anxiety was over. But it took definitely a couple more days to continue and finish the miscarriage, and also for my body and mind to physically process what was going on. I will say, everyone grieves differently, and I felt bad really for grieving the way I was grieving because I couldn't cry, because I couldn't. All I could do was intellectualize it and keep going. But I also knew that it would hit me eventually. And so I'm going to talk about different things I did to help myself grieve or at least get to a place. One of the things that really carried me was my community. And it reminded me why I told people why I was pregnant, why I was threatened miscarriage, and why I'm saying it now that I miscarried. Because again, the community and the people around me, the fact that people knew my attendings, my residents, my coworkers, my family, my friends, they supported me. And they didn't just say, I'm so sorry. One of my residents came and just randomly gave me coffee. One of my friends across the country, who's a pediatric resident, my very best friend, she was working in a hospital shift and she sent me to my house flowers and my favorite ice cream and pretzels and was just so kind. Another friend came over when my husband was on call. He had a lot of call these past couple weeks. And we had a girls' movie night and we had ice cream and just processed. And then people who have gone through miscarriage themselves told me for the very first time that they had gone through it themselves. And that was so helpful, both attending doctors, residents, and friends who had never told me before. I think it was honestly harder for my family members who had never had a miscarriage versus family members or friends who had. And it just reminded me of why I like telling my patients when I've gone through something similar, because there's just the knowledge that someone gets it sit with you in silence or in fear, just sitting with the other person or expressing that they get it means more than you would realize. So I don't encourage this for everyone. I understand why everyone was so nervous about me telling everyone because of this highly likely situation. But the thing is, it's just a chapter that was going to happen most likely, either in this pregnancy and next pregnancy. I was about to go through IVF. I specifically chose to take out this many eggs and freeze embryos during medical school because I know how likely miscarriage is and how difficult it is. I'm not saying this was a blessing. I'm not saying that I wished for this, but I know it's not meaningless. For me, this helped me understand my body. This literally told me that I can get pregnant, which I came from 5 years thinking that I wasn't able to get pregnant without IVF because I had thought my tubes were clogged from an exam, but it's possible I had endometriosis and maybe on one of my tubes were spasmed, at least one, because of the stress I was under in med school. I also learned how my own body responds to pregnancy, which for me, it will be a roller coaster. And I know that I will have a lot of anxiety, most likely acne, nauseous. So, knowing my support system, my medications, my therapist, I met multiple times with my therapist, which I was so glad. I knew he had disclosed to me previously. He had actually gone through IVF with his wife and had multiple miscarriages, so able to connect in that way. But this week, especially after learning Monday, I think, yeah, so it's Friday now. I was very glad that I had the opportunity to take time to at least try to grieve. Monday was a holiday. Tuesday, I'm on a rotation I could do virtually. Wednesday, I took a sick day. Thursday, we have virtual didactics education. And then Friday, I took a makeup holiday day off. So I was very lucky. I'm in a residency that takes care of us and was able to support me. My coordinator even offered a longer bereavement leave, like a 10-day or something. And I was like, for me, I don't need it. I'm processed to the level I could, and I'm ready to go back. And now that I went to a doctor today and know that everything's done, I've passed it, even though it was painful. Not as painful as I thought for me, because I have endometriosis. And I well prepared with my TENS unit, my pain pills, my medications. But I'm ready to move forward. Even though this chapter was a short chapter, I know there are more to come. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for being with me through this journey as a doctor and a patient. This is truly life as a patient doctor. This is why I created my podcast to begin with many years ago, to show that we are all human. I hope this helps you out there too, especially if you're one of those individuals that suffers from infertility or has suffered with miscarriages. Know you're not alone, and we will get through this together. So just remember, we and you are not broken, and you don't need to rush your healing. Get the supports you need. There are plenty of mental health therapists. I like using Psychology Today, that you can put in your insurance and look up a specific mental health provider that fits your needs. I was so proud of my OB-GYN for reminding me multiple times about my mental health. And I complimented her. I'm like, as a psychiatry resident, I appreciate you and keep doing it. Because this is not just an OB-GYN thing. This is a family medicine, psychiatry, all of us are in it together. Because mental health impacts everything. And especially when there are changes and transitions, when things don't always go as planned. That's when our mental health can really struggle. So thank you, everyone who's reached out to me. You don't have to disclose whether or not you've had a miscarriage, but if you can comment just a heart in solidarity for all the people who have to go through this, that way they know they're not alone. So either comment a heart or like this video. That way this video can be spread, because we need to talk more about miscarriages. Because like I said, 1 in 3 pregnancies during their first trimester have a miscarriage and don't continue. That's a lot. And a lot of people don't share that they're pregnant until they get past that first trimester stage. I'm not saying you have to disclose, but we need to at least connect. Don't hide it to yourself, because that's where the biggest struggle is. If you're going through it alone, that's where things get dangerous for our mental health. So please tell someone. It can be your therapist, it can be your doctor, it can be your friend, someone you trust to be there. Even if you haven't miscarried but are worried about it, it's important to just have someone know that you're struggling or that you might be mentally struggling. Just to have them check in on you. So thank you, everyone. And I'll see you on the next round.